Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I want to talk about PhD ambitions versus PhD intellectuals or intellect. So, if you don't know me, I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out to get through graduate school that I decided to pay the favor forward and do something about it. So I started doing these YouTube videos. I actually created this sort of sharing economy proofreading app. It's a work in progress. But anyways, so this is a story or some suggestions in terms of how to view a PhD. I think a lot of people sort of get this wrong, and they get graduate school wrong in terms of the perceptions of what you should be doing, particularly when you're first starting to go into it, or if you're imagining what it should be. And we have this kind of idealized perspective as the sort of PhD intellects, right? Or the intellectuals that will sit around and discuss many different ideas, or they'll go on walks throughout the university. That's why we have these beautiful grounds, and they're constantly having this discussion with other people. And, it's just kind of, it's this sort of Aristotle in the traditional view of things, where there is somebody that is sitting there lecturing to somebody else outside, and there's all these students that are listening attentively and doing that kind of thing. That is probably the worst possible way that you can view what doing a PhD is like, and viewing what it is all about. It is probably the furthest from the truth. There are components of that, and I do encourage that if you watch all of these videos. That is a really important thing to do, to go out and go for walks and to take breaks and to think in broadly, and not just to focus on one specific thing. But I want you to be clear in terms of what's actually going on when you do a PhD. And this is especially for people that are thinking of going and becoming a PhD. You have to be very, very ambitious. You have to think about exactly who are the people that are going to be a PhD, and you're going to be competing with that group of people. And it's not necessarily competing, but you are competing in a lot of different ways, right? So those people that are actually going into that space are highly, highly ambitious, right? So you want to think about all the people that have gone to get a PhD before you, and will continue to get a PhD after you, right? So these people are typically very, very goal seeking. So they're probably the people that did pretty well in high school. They did pretty well in college. They did pretty well in graduate school, and they continue to keep doing well as they go. And if you can imagine who those people are, those are people that are, they're probably going to study a lot. They are going to be very goal directed on sort of meeting that particular meeting goals in the classroom. They are going to be people that are just very focused on sort of being the best in a particular area. And that's okay. That's a good thing. But at the same time, you have to be imagining those people around you have all of that general characteristic. Now, there's also, these people are generally very good at passing through different hurdles in their life. And some people are much better at that than others, right? So each time that you sort of go through different stages in your life, and you continue on with that stage, right? So if you go through high school, that's one stage, you met a hurdle. You go through a few years of college, that's another hurdle, and you continue to go on. Those are different hurdles, and each time that you pass through those different hurdles, you have to do a fair bit of work to get through those different hurdles. So those people are very much used to working through problems and working through different situations that are probably stressful for many different people. Now, the other thing is that you are competing on a global scale. So if you didn't know this, when you're in graduate school, you're not competing with just the people that are at that particular graduate school. You have to compete with other people around the world. You're publishing research, you're publishing ideas that other people are going to be reading, and those people are from all over the world. So if you're in the United States, like I am, you're probably competing with people in Canada, which I was. I did my PhD in Canada. then you're probably also competing with people in Italy who are doing some wonderful things over there. You're probably competing with people that are in South Africa. There are people all over the world that are competing for kind of the same space, or they're filling up the same space, and they're bringing in all these different ideas, and you have to essentially compete with all those different ideas around the world. So it makes it really, really competitive and really, first of all, it's a really fun environment because it isn't competitive, but at the same time, it's a lot different from the perspective that you probably have, or many people have, that you're just kind of sitting around and having these philosophical debates, right? So what is really important when you do a PhD or you go into graduate school is that you have to be very, very ambitious. You have to be willing to be very ambitious. And if you're not comfortable with doing things that make you uncomfortable, and that you are uncomfortable with the idea of persisting through very, very uncomfortable moments in your life, and it's going to be going to be very uncomfortable, where you're going to be working on something, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 5 years that you're working on something that doesn't really have a particular outcome that is clear and that is clearly identifiable, and you're going to be working and toiling away at something. If you're uncomfortable with that, then it's probably not the best sort of view for you. So if you want to be, or best sort of career for you. So if you want to be a professor, or you want to go into graduate school, you have to be thinking about somebody that is thinking about the kind of person that's going to be willing to persist through these difficult moments in your life. So what you want to do is not view yourself as sort of this intellectual kind of person that you are just having these wonderful debates with other people. You want to be viewing yourself as probably much more akin to an entrepreneur or a CEO that is trying to accomplish different things, and they have a particular thing that they want to accomplish, and they're trying to achieve those kind of goals, where you're incrementally moving forward on those particular goals, and it's up to you to determine and figure out what those things are, what you're trying to do, and what you're trying to accomplish going forward. And you have to push through to actually achieve those particular milestones, whatever that might be and how you might define that. Now, if you are a person that's currently doing a PhD or in the middle of your doctorate, just note that you have to keep moving forward and keep going. That's an important thing that you have to realize, that we all deal with this kind of stuff. We are all going through all of this. And even the people that are 10 years ahead of me, 20 years ahead of me, they're still pushing forward. I might be 10 years ahead of you. I'm still pushing forward as well. We're constantly doing that. And we have to be very, very ambitious. We have to keep moving forward. And you want to look at yourself as not as this kind of person that's just going to kind of relax and take it easy, but you're looking at yourself as the kind of person that wants to be challenged, and you want to keep pushing forward and being challenged as you're moving forward towards new and better things. So I want you to realize what I'm pointing out. This is normal. This experience that you're going through right now, this sort of difficulty that you're experiencing throughout the entire process, is absolutely normal. It's normal to feel uncertain and not knowing what you're doing. It's completely normal to feel challenged at most moments. It's normal to feel like you're always having to do something and push forward at something. It's absolutely normal for all of us to experience these emotions that we go through. And I want to clearly point out that you can do this. This is something that deep down inside, you can keep moving forward and pushing at this particular goal. We all experience it. You can absolutely do it. You can keep moving forward. I know you can do this. This is, if I can do this, and if other people ahead of me have done this, you can do this as well. I'm not smart. There's nothing about me that, I was born in northern Canada in the middle of nowhere. Everybody can do this kind of stuff. I know you can do this. I know you are the type of person that can keep pushing forward and working at a particular project that is really difficult, I know deep down inside of me that you are that kind of person. So don't view yourself as this kind of intellectual that is just kind of thinking of new ideas and, just kind of wandering around and not having any particular goal. Think of yourself as being a very ambitious person. You're like an entrepreneur, you're a CEO, you're trying to accomplish goals in your life, you're trying to accomplish goals to keep you going forward. This is how you're going to get through this sort of difficult moment in your life. If you're experiencing that, you can do it. All right. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. Take care. Bye.